Hey y'all, I was scrolling on Reddit and I came across this question and I kind of wanted to address it more specifically because I was writing a really long response to it and I don't think that that would have been helpful to the person without a video. So this is what they're looking for if we click on the image. They're looking for something like this where they have the name of the subject, the initial date that they completed it, the first session, the second session, the third session, final session, and then the next revision. And I thought that it would be interesting to use buttons and database formulas, the updated one. So let's head over to Notion and actually set this up for them. So I'm just gonna create a random page somewhere. So we're gonna do, what was this? Spaced repetition. And I think for this one, I'll just have the free template linked in the description. So let's go ahead. Let's be speedy about this. So I'm going to create a page inside here. The reason I create a page inside here is because this is part of a database. I don't really want to share this page. I want to share this page inside. And then easy, full screen. All right, this is going to be the front end of spaced repetition. And I've actually been better at naming things properly because if I don't name them properly, then I'm always linking the wrong database or the wrong thing. Backend, spaced repetition. Alright, we only need, let's do two. Let's do two databases. So the first one is going to be, actually no, we'll just do one. We'll just do one because I don't really want to include classes here. So we're going to do a full page. And the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and name this whatever we're going to name it. Jesus, why am I blanking? Alright, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and name this the spaced repetition table. And this one is going to be all, I guess, all tasks, or all, what's a good breakdown of like things that you need to study. So all concepts is something I'll do. All right, and let's just take it out right straight out of their book. So we're gonna do the subject, so, or I guess concept for this, and then we're gonna create a bunch of different properties. So let's get started and open the page up because I want to create this inside the page and apply the layout while I do it. So the first property, I'm going to create a bunch of date properties. So I'm going to create the date for first reviewed. All right, and then I'm going to create the date for first session, which is the first thing you do after the first session. They'll get it because that's how they worded it in their thing. And then we have the, sorry, I'm just going to duplicate a bunch of these. Duplicate. Alright, this is going to be the second session. And we're going to have the third session. And we're going to have the last session. And then we're going to have the next review date. Okay, so these are all the date properties that we need to get this working. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create all the properties and then I'm going to do layouts. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is all the checkboxes. So we're going to do first reviewed, or I guess I'll call it initial review because this just means is the first review done. And then we're going to do first session. And then we're going to do, duplicate. We're going to do second session. I need to use cardinality for both of these or else it'll bother me. Okay, first session, question mark. Alright, and then I'm going to zoom in a little because I just realized that that's probably better for you guys. And then I'm going to do duplicate. How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, and then final session. I guess if the final session's done, you're kind of done with the entire thing. But, yeah. So this is third session. And then this is last session. Alright, So this is just, are these done, right? So we have the date that it was completed, is it completed or not, and then we have the last thing, which is going to be the buttons to set all of this up, right? So how do we want this to flow, right? So what's going to happen is that if I finish the initial review, then I'm going to have a date for the date completed for this, and then I'm also going to have the next review date initialized, right? So let's go ahead and set up that first button. So it's going to be a button down here, and then first review completed. And you can make this like simpler of a button for you. And then here, we're going to edit property. So we're going to say first reviewed is set to today, like right now, right? And then we're going to set the initial review to done, right? And then finally, we're going to set the next review date, and here we're going to use a custom formula. We're going to say today, or let's see if we can, this page dot first reviewed, and then we're going to date add to this, and we're going to say we want to add 1 days, right? So this just lets us update the next review date, right? So let's go ahead and try that. So if I do this, oh, yay, that's not nice. Review button. What? Okay. It's going to be set to time triggered. Initial review is checked. Date add this page. That makes sense, right? What if I take this out and it works? Okay. Oh, okay. Why is the other one not working? Is it because it doesn't exist yet? Okay. Because this should work. Let's try this. Or let's do date triggered. Set. Okay, let's try this and see if it works. Okay, that makes sense, but I want it to be based off of this value and not when I clicked it. Let's see if clearing this and trying again works. Okay, so clearing that, clearing this, and then clearing this. Does this work? Yes. Okay. Clear it, clear this, and then clear this. Okay. Now let's try doing what we were initially doing. Instead of date triggered, we can do first reviewed. This page dot first reviewed. Okay. Save. Run. Okay. Great. So I know exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to change it back to what we had earlier. So we're going to change this to now. So date triggered plus 1 day, right? So that works. We know that works, right? So if I did it today, it's going to be like this, right? For the remaining ones, since this value will already exist, we're just going to do it based off of this value instead of whatever other value. So the first session should be on this date, right? So we're going to go ahead and duplicate this button, and this one is going to be the second review is completed, or the first session is completed, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to do something similar where first session is set to time triggered, and then we're going to set the first session question mark checkbox to checked. And then the next review is going to be this page, okay, this page dot first reviewed plus plus I think they said 6 days after, right? So this is going to add 6 days. And we're not going to update, or actually, let me grab this formula because I'm updating the wrong thing. Or this, yeah, this should be the next review date. Okay, correct. Okay, perfect. So now I finished the first session, right? So then the next review date is set to November 15th. And this allows you to finish the sessions earlier than you would. But if you want it to be based off of this value instead of this value, you should update that in the formula, right? So say I finished the first reviewed was November 9th, right? So the first session should have been November 10th. But maybe I had time today, or like I wanted to get it done early. This is like really close. Like you shouldn't be doing this for spaced repetition, but you wanted to get it done really early, or like you had some time and you know you don't have time tomorrow. You did the first session, right? You still have until the 15th to do your second session because it's based off of 6 days after this, right? So I think that makes more sense. But if you think that instead of 6 days after the first reviewed date, you should have it as 5 days between these two, then you should add it, this value, this should be added to, again, the same thing as this. So it should be right now plus 5 days that you should change it to. If that doesn't make sense, you need more clarification, feel free to DM me or comment something, but that, like, this makes more sense in my head. If the other way makes more sense in your head, then use that way. All right, so now we're just going to redo all of this a bunch of times. So I'm going to duplicate it. Here we have second session completed, right? And then we have edit property, edit the button. We're going to have first session. No, we want second session to be right now. And then we have second session. We want it to be checked, right? And then the next, it's the same thing, except instead of 6 days, it's going to be 14 days. Sorry, I'm not familiar with spaced repetition, like using it, because I'm not a biology student, but yeah, I understand the concept of spaced repetition. I actually kind of was interested in using it at some point, but I just don't really fuck with studying like that. All right, third session completed, right? And then we have edit property, edit automation. So the third session was completed right now. The third session is now complete. So this is kind of redundant, having the checkbox and setting the time, because if there is a time there, then we should be able to figure out that it's been completed. I just think that it's more robust. So like if one isn't set properly or something like that, or like if someone who doesn't know too much about Notion or how much this system works needs to see what's going on, it makes more sense for them to see them both at the same time, but it can also be confusing. But third session is done, so the last session is going to be 30 days after. Save. Done, right? Now, final thing we're going to do is, okay, I'm also going to run these. So we have second session completed. Second session is completed at this date. Next review is 14 days from now. Actually, I don't want this time to be here, actually. Oh, but these have times. Oh, this has time. Okay, that makes sense. I'll just change this to date triggered, because I prefer that. But if you don't care about the time, okay. First review, right? So this is, okay. Second, okay, yeah. Third, and then third session completed. This should be December 9th, exactly a month away. Finally, we have this one, which is going to be the last session completed. What we're going to do is we are going to clear this value. So we're not going to set, or actually we're going to set it to nothing, right? So this is going to be nothing. I'm just going to leave it as select. That's how you clear the value. Last session is set to right now. We just finished it. And then last session question mark is going to be set to yes, because we finished it, right? Then what's going to happen is we have, oh, did I not actually set? Okay. Last session, right? Done. No next review date, and these are all set as done, right? Okay, so now I'm going to go over layouts for a second. Great. So that is done. Now let's go to the front end, right? So let's call this concept like, I don't know, cholesterol in cell walls. I've been teaching my sister biology because she is absolutely horrendous at the subject, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Okay, so now this was the back end. Now we're going to go to the front end. And I'm excited about the front end part because now we're actually able to visualize what we just created. So let's go ahead and create a linked database. Let's create the spaced repetition table. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a gallery. And I have a great concept for this. Hide the database title, take the card preview, change it to none, and then I'm just going to empty this out. Alright. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and hide the page icon because I don't really care about that. Wrap all properties. We're going to click done, right? Now, this is where, okay, this just hates me. Okay, this is where what we did earlier is going to come into into work, right? So we are going to split this. Actually, how do I want to do this? Okay, we're actually going to have to do multiple ones, right? So we're going to do the next review date because that's actually what we care about, right? And this doesn't have an next review date. Okay, so we'll create a new one, which is going to be like, I don't know, phospholipids. Okay, then I'm going to run my button, right? So I'm going to say first review completed. So it's going to give me some review date, right? What I want to do is say, oh, okay, I have a good idea, but it's complex and I don't know. It might be a little too much for this video. Alright, so I changed my mind about how I'm going to do this, and I filmed like the rest of the video, but now I changed my mind and this makes more sense. So this is going to be where we still have the initial review needed. And so this is going to be, the first session is unchecked, or actually this is going to be the first session, right? And we're going to make sure that the first reviewed is empty. Wait, what? Okay. Add to advanced filter is empty, right? Jesus, why? Okay. Alright, so this is going to make it so that this is our like very baby like new concept, right? Let's call it cell membrane. I don't know. I'm assuming this is for biology. The reason we're splitting it up like this, okay, so cell membrane, and what do I want to see here? I want to see the next review date label, the one that I created earlier. I didn't show that. It's just a label. You'll understand. And then we're going to keep one button, and the button that we're going to show is, where is it? Initial review. No, that's a checkbox. Where's the first review completed, right? So this button is going to push it into the next section, and I'll just show you how that works. We're going to duplicate this, right? Here, this should be not empty, right? Because now, oh, wait, why am I doing this like this? Okay. Sometimes I forget that I have boxes for these things. Checkbox. Initial review is checked, right? And then this one is going to be delete this. Initial review is unchecked, right? So we're going to make sure everything is unchecked here. And then here, we're going to make everything but this unchecked, right? We're going to keep doing that. But here, we want to make sure that we have this button changed, right? So this, I'm going to actually rename these so it makes more sense what it is. So these are in the second, well, yeah, let's call them this first session, right? Right, and these top ones here are going to be in the initial review, right? So this button should be first session completed, right? So first session completed button. Okay, so now let's duplicate that for everybody, right? So duplicate again, this is going to be second session. And then the reason we have to do it in separate views like this and we can't just group it is because we want different buttons showing in each section. So that's why we're doing it like this. And we want to see the second session completed button. All right. And then duplicate. We can do third session and then change it to the third session completed button. Okay, I also forgot to change these filters. So if we're in the second session, then the second session should be unchecked, but the first session should be checked, right? Great. And then if we're in the third session, both of these should be checked. Checked and checked. Great. I'm going to create some more samples here. Give me a biology topic. Damn, we're doing research for this. Chromatography, I guess. Okay, give me like 2 more. Or just 1 more is fine. We're going to push these down the chain later because I'm super excited to see that happen. Okay, third session, we set this up. Next one is going to be, actually, maybe I should push this. So first session completed, jumps here. Second session completed, jumps here. Beautiful, amazing, wonderful. Great. And then we're going to do the last one. And we're going to do last session here, and then we're going to just change the properties so you can say last session completed. Where's the button? Donde está? Okay, last session completed, right? And finally, oh, we need to change this to third session is checked. Great. And then finally, we're going to have, if I click this, it's going to be over here. We still need to do the last session, and then finally, we're going to have the ones that are completely done, which is going to be everything is checked, right? And that is cholesterol and cell wall. So I'm going to leave it like this, right? And then I'm actually going to change this formula. I actually don't even need this label. So I'm just going to leave it if someone else wants to use it. And I don't like the way this is set up, so I'm just going to do 1D because that just lets you, it doesn't have that 0 in front of the 9. Okay, I'm going to change all of these to have just the date instead of the label because I like it better that way. And, okay, so then this one, first review completed, second review completed, third review completed, great. First review completed, second review completed, first review completed. Look at that. Look at the beauty of this flow. Yeah, I was just really excited to make this work, so I created like a million properties and I was trying to explain it to the person, but this is what we have. And we can pretty it up as well, but I'm going to shut up and send the video to the person. And then we can deal with that later, maybe. If you want to see more detailed version of this, I'll like clean it up and then put it in the description. But like if you want to see a more detailed version of this, please let me know in the comments and I'll deal with that later. But yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.